Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to your math lesson for today. For today, you will need your 5B textbook, your 5B workbook, paper, and pencil. If you need to go get any of those things, you may pause and go do so now, and then come on back. We have 2 warm-up problems today, okay? Filling in the blank, and then note, when you were doing your estimate before you're finding your exact answer, you want to make sure that you are making your estimate as simple as possible. Do not overcomplicate this for yourselves. Make it simple. So go ahead and pause, give it a try, come on back and see how you did. So in this case, we're filling in our place, we're wanting to make sure we're showing our place value here as we go, okay? So first is going to be 7, and we want to show that it's 7 ones, okay? 4/10. And then when we have our 6, we can't just write 6 because we're trying to show the place value. So we need to make sure we have as many place values as are here in order to make this work. So you should have 6 thousandths, okay? For our estimate, again, you want to keep it simple. So you could have maybe rounded this to 93, or even 90 would have been a fine place to round it to, and then subtracting 1. So maybe your estimate was 92, maybe your estimate was 89, maybe even your estimate was 99. I think I would have accepted any of those estimates. Again, our job in estimating is just to generally get an idea of where our place values are at, okay? Now, in order to subtract, we needed to make sure that we're lining these things up. I did not give myself nearly enough space, so I'm going to erase and make some room. But I am going to keep my estimates written down there, okay? So, remember, with addition and subtraction of decimals, we need to make sure our decimal points line up. So we have to see that these 2 decimal points are stacked. In this case, we're going to want to add a 0 to the end in order to make sure we have the same number of digits or place values, I guess. And then we can subtract. So 7 minus 0 is 7. 3 we need to turn to 13, and then we're borrowing from over here. So this 8 becomes a 7. 13 minus 9 is 4. Again, we can't subtract here, so we need to regroup again. 17 minus 9 is 8. 1 minus 0 is 1. 9 minus 0 is 9. And then, of course, we need to have that decimal point in the correct place. So 91 and 847 thousandths is our exact answer. And so as we compare down here, like, yeah, that seems pretty good. 92 is a great estimate. 89 is also a great estimate, right? It's showing us, remember, the purpose of this estimate is just to really double check that our decimal point is in the right place. So it's not 9 or 918 or 9,184, right? And we can see based on where our decimal point is placed that, yeah, we're pretty close, right? We're looking at 9/10 or so in our answer. So as I've been repeating, this is absolutely the type of problem that you could end up seeing on a quarterly exam. And again, we're kind of far out from there at this point because we're just starting the 3rd quarter, but hopefully by the time we get there, your reviewing is helping you to feel like you're pretty prepared in all. So as we get into today's lesson, 5th graders, our objective is going to be multiplying a decimal by a 2-digit whole number. So far, we've done that with a 1-digit whole number, but we're going to be building on to multiplying by a 2-digit whole number, okay? So we're going to review a couple of things before we get truly into it, okay? So one thing to, actually, no, we're not going to do any review. We're going to get right into it. I'm sorry, thank you for your patience with my misstep. So we're going to get into our textbooks. Page 32 is where we're going to be, and you'll need your paper and pencil out as well. So go ahead and get those ready to go. I'm going to flip you guys around so that we can get into it. Again, we're on page 32. I'm not on 32. Yikes. All right, now I'm on 32. So the rule that we had with multiplication before really is going to continue to be the same rule, which says the number of decimal places that are in the problem needs to be equal to the number of decimal places that is in your answer. Beyond that, the rules of multiplication are pretty much the same. The other thing it's worth pointing out is when we're thinking about ordering these problems, we don't necessarily want to put the greater number on top, but we do want to put the longer number. In other words, the number that has the most digits is going to go on top. And again, it's not impossible to do it the other way, but it's certainly a lot more orderly if we have the number with the most digits stacked on top, okay? So let's just work through a couple of these. And then as always, I'm going to give you a chance to try a couple yourselves. So we're looking down at 3A. So I see 3 digits here, 2 digits here. So we're going to put this number on top because, again, it has the longer number, the more digits, okay? From there, we're going to sort of ignore the decimal point for now and just multiply as if we were doing our traditional multiplication. So 3 times 8 is 24. So we write our 4, carry our 2. 3 times 7, 21, plus 2 is 23. Okay, so now we've multiplied by 3, so now we're going to move on to the 4. But remember, it's not 4, it's 40. So we want to make sure we have a 0 there to show that we're looking at the next place value, okay? But now we go 4 times 8 is 32 with a 3 being brought over. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 3 is 31. And now we can add. Again, this is a great encouragement to be using your best temperate and prudent work so that you're lining up your numbers and having them written nice and clearly. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 plus 1 is 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. All right, so far this is just like any kind of 2-digit multiplication that we've done in the past. So now we look back at our problem. I see 1, 2 decimal places in the problem. So we need 1, 2 decimal places in our answer, 33 and 54 hundredths. Okay. This is a great reminder, 5th graders, if you have not been working along with me so far, that's part of what we're going to do. Even as I'm talking you through it, you want to practice doing it with me. So you should be working along with me as we're doing these problems. So 53 hundredths times 23. Again, we're putting this number on top, not because it's greater. It's not greater, right? It's less than 23, but it's longer. It has more digits, and so we want it on top. And now we do our multiplication as usual. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 5 is 15. Remember now we have to add our 0 before we start with the second digit to show that we're multiplying by 20 here. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 5 is 10. Now we add 9, 11, 2, and 1. Now we look back at the problem. I see 1, 2 decimal places, 1, 2 in the answer. So we want to put our decimal point there. So we get 12 and 19 hundredths. Let's take a look at C. In this case, I see 2 digits and 2 digits. So ultimately, we can put whichever one on top or bottom that we like because there's not a difference in the number of digits. So I'm just going to write it as written in this case. 37 times 4 and 9/10. And now I multiply. 9 times 7 is 63, and we bring that 6 over. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 6 is 33. Now we add a 0 to show that we're over to the next place value. 4 times 7 is 28. We bring over that 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And we add 3 11, 8, and 1. And now we look back at the problem. I see just one decimal place here, so we want just one decimal place in our answer. We end up with 181 and 3/10. I'm going to try one more with you, and then we're going to kind of step by step try getting a little more independent. So comparing these two numbers, this number has 3 digits, so that's what's going to go on top because the other number has only 2 digits. And then we multiply. 6 times 7 is 42. So we have our 2 and bring up our 4. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 4 is 22. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. We add our 0 to hold our place, and then we multiply our second digit. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 2 is 4. And then we add. We get 2, 6, 11, 1 and 1 and 4 make 6. And now we look back at our problem. Oops, that's not correct. I see one decimal place in our problem. So one decimal place in our answer, and that's where we put our decimal point. Okay, so I'm going to kind of guide you through. I want you to start trying them on your own, but I'm going to have you check in pretty regularly at the start. So why don't you try letter E? So you're going to pause, try letter E on your own based on what we've been practicing. Once you're done with just E, come on back and see how you did. So as you were selecting which to put on top, 40 and 6/10 has more digits. So it's going to be the one that we want on top. It's longer. Then we do our multiplication. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry that 3. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. 5 times 4 is 20. And then we add a 0 to hold our place value. 4 times 6 is 24 with a 2. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 4 times 4 is 16. And we add 0, 7, 2, 8, and 1. And now we look back at the problem. There's one decimal place in the problem, so we need 1 in the answer. So 5th graders, you maybe saw a 0 and thought, well, that's not going to count. It does count. It still is one of the place values here. It's holding us, and it's going to make sure we get the correct answer, that we end up in the correct place value. So you need to count that 0. So what that means as an answer is that this is 1,827. How'd you do with that one? Hopefully okay. All right, we're going to try again. I want you to pause, try F on your own. When you're done, come on back and see how you did. So as I compare these two numbers, I see that this number is much longer. So we're going to put that one on top. Okay, so 132 and 4/10 is going to go on top, and 18 will go on the bottom. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16, plus that 3 is 19. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Hopefully you remember to add that 0. That's how we make sure that we're keeping our place value, and then multiplying, thankfully, with these ones goes pretty quickly, right? We have 4, 2, 3, and 1. And then we add 2, 13, carry the 1, 8, 3, and 2. I see one decimal point in the problem, so we need one decimal place in the answer. So we should end up with 2,383 and 2/10. 5th graders, as we're going through these, if you are finding that you've gotten one wrong, see if you can figure out where it happened. Check your work with my work and see, where did that mistake come up, okay? This is a lot of just practicing our multiplication, so it's possible that it's just a matter of working on careful multiplication facts. Okay. All right. Go ahead and try G again on your own, fifth graders. Pause, give it a try. Come on back and see how you did. All right. Again, putting this number on top, even though it's the lesser number, it has more digits, so we want it on top. 3 times 8 is 24. Carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. We have to include our 0 to hold our place value, and then multiply again. 4 times 8 is 32. Carry the 3. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And then we add 4, 9, 3, 5, and 1. We look back at our problem. I see 1, 2 decimal places, so we want 1, 2 decimal places in our answer. So our answer is 153 and 94 hundredths. Hopefully you're feeling like you're getting in the swing of things at this point. We've got 2 more that we're going to do together before we move on to our practice and then homework. Go ahead and try H. Once you've found an answer, come on back and see how you did. Again, 15 and 900ths, we're going to put that on top. It's the longer number, so we want it on top. 6 times 9 is 54. Carry that 5. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. We add our 0 and then go again. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry that 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And then we add. We get 4, 13, 2, 9, and 3. Looking at the problem, I see 1, 2 decimal places in the problem, so I want 1, 2 decimal places in my answer. I end up with 392 and 34 hundredths. Again, if you're getting these wrong, see if you can figure out where it's happening. We're almost there, fifth graders. I want you to pause. I want you to try L. Then come on back and see how you did. So following our pattern, we're going to want 1 and 57 hundredths on top because it is the longer number. It has more digits. Then we multiply. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Add our 0 and try again. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 is 39. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. And we add 4, 10, carry the 1. 13, carry the 1. 1 and 1. I see 1, 2 decimal places in our problem. We want 1, 2 decimal places in our answer to get 113 and 4 hundredths. Oh, I'm barely on the screen. Sorry, fifth graders. So with that, this is really all there is to today's lesson. Part of it is just making sure you're multiplying neatly, carefully. Okay, so that's a part of it. Getting your math facts correctly and then having your addition go correctly as well. Okay. But things to keep in mind as you're moving forward to working on the practice and then the homework. Make sure you're adding that 0 when you get to your second row of multiplication. That's how we make sure that we're keeping track of the correct place value. So that 0 needs to be first before you start carrying out that multiplication. And then that final step is to go back and look at the problem, count out the decimal places, and then make sure that those decimal places are corresponding with the decimal places in your answer. Okay? So for today, it's a little bit different. Your practice is going to be page 20 in the workbook. So you're going to do some practice work on page 20 in the workbook. And there's a key attached to help you check your work for page 20. And then your homework is going to be going on to page 21 in the workbook. Okay? Submitting a picture. There's this whole thing on the bottom, fifth graders, where you can shade the spaces and figure out what Andrew won. That's optional. If you want to do it, great. If not, that's fine too. I really just want to see your answers to your multiplication problem. So I need to see those 9. And I need to see the work. I'm going to put this in the instructions too, but I don't want to see just an answer. That doesn't help me to see that you're carrying out the process, okay? So when you submit a picture, I need to see the work, and if there's not work there, I'm going to return it and ask you to show me your work, okay? So even if your answers are all you have in your workbook because you did your work on another piece of paper, that's fine, but I also need to see the picture of that other piece of paper. So I'm going to expect you to have your work today, okay? If you have questions, so we're kind of, you know, the checkpoint thing, right? We just went through a bunch of problems. If that went well, great. If not, come see me, okay? And then we've got our practice work, which is your second checkpoint, and then your homework when you're ready to submit. But make sure if you've got questions, you reach out and we can connect. Good luck.